Hi everybody and welcome back to Checkmate the Matrix for another show. And today we have Kayles from Free Energy Nationwide, which is the Telegram group, which I will put a link in so that you can all contact her later on, join the group or whatever it is. So Kayles, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks for having me, Peter.
Oh, you're more than welcome. We just want to get a little bit more background on the group and what you've actually been up to and everything. Obviously, it speaks for itself, Free Energy Nationwide, but let's roll sort of the time back a little bit and explain to everybody, how this started and why it started and how you actually got involved in it in the beginning.
Well, I think 5 years ago, as a lot of people who are probably watching this have gone through a lot of changes with everything that's been going on in the world. And through our own personal journeys, we started to explore different truths and different paths about the birth certificate fraud. That's where it all started for me. And I started to experiment with not paying certain bills, not just gas and electric. That's obviously what the group is mainly about. And a bigger picture is it's about reclaiming that sovereignty, the physical sovereignty, but also the spiritual sovereignty as well, because it's linked. So I was doing lots of different things, fed up of my career. I worked in human resources for 14 years. So well and truly in the matrix. So I was struggling in that sense because it wasn't fitting with my lifestyle and who I was and the journey that I was on. So that started to dwindle away, and we started to go down different paths with the gas and electric, and started to do lots of different research on smart meters and radiation and EMF and the health impact and the fact about the control mechanisms that are being put upon us, especially through smart meters. And we removed, luckily my husband is an engineer, so quite lucky there. So we changed our smart meter in one of the houses that we were in. We started to discuss this on another platform, quite a big platform at the time on Telegram. And a lot of people started to inbox us saying, "Oh, I really like that idea. Can you come and do mine?" And we were like, "Oh, okay." And it just literally started to grow like that. And then it went bam. And literally overnight, I had hundreds and hundreds of messages in my inbox saying, "Can you tell me what you've done? Tell me a little bit about your story. How have you dealt with the brokers and what did you do?" And all sorts of things. And it just literally started from then. And I quickly realized, Peter, that I needed to put a group together, my own group as such. We've had a different group as well before that, with a couple of engineers, but we kind of branched off because we wanted to take it to a different level. And we quickly realized that people needed some support mechanisms, because it was all right having your gas and electric meters changed, but then hellfire comes your way and you don't know how to deal with it. So obviously me being in that kind of role in the matrix of supporting people, guiding people, that's what my job was. It just started to organically grow and blossom, and that's, and fast forward to today, three years on. I mean, I started my journey 5 years ago, but the group specifically 3 years. We've got over 20,000 members on. It just keeps growing organically, and the more networking we do, it spreads the word. This is affecting the collective consciousness. It's not just about yourself. It's not about money. There's a bigger picture. So again, you've got to go down your different rabbit holes and your different paths and your bumps and your hurdles, because it's not all smiley faces. It's not. It's, we've got to have these experiences that are brought forward, because there's a lot of lessons within these experiences for us on our own specific journeys. We're all on different timelines. And that's kind of in a nutshell, and I'll not waffle on any longer, but that's kind of where it started. Where we are today.
Okay, so the human resources bit. So you were working for a corporation kind of, and then
I worked on coal-fired power stations across the UK. So I've worked on several big power stations, and for big names like Eons and Scottish Power, and all the
Well, that's
biggies.
interesting.
Being on the other side.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Was not conscious back then at all, by the way. So, you know, when you start to go a little bit down that rabbit hole, a little bit deeper for people that are ready to understand where does energy come from. It's not necessarily power stations or wind turbines, right? A lot of it's circulated energy. It's an illusion. Energy is in the ether. It's here. It's provided by Mother Earth. Okay, so, and again, that's a little bit deep for a lot of people where we do it in stages on our group. We've got, you know, we do Zoom calls, community calls for people that are ready to explore alternatives and different theories and methods and things like that.
Yeah, I've been saying that for a long time, you know, and like pointing up to, you know, these huge pylons that are right up in the air. And it's like, you know, well, if there's no electricity being generated, how comes they're there? And I said, because it's up that high, collecting it out of the ether. You know, it's like we are full electric machines ourselves. You know, everything is energy around us, and the whole existence that we're in is just pure energy. So you don't need to create anything.
Yeah, it's trickery. It's fraud. It's fraud in many ways, isn't it? But it's that it's breaking down the barriers. I guess you can't come to it straight away. It's baby steps into it, because when you go through your there's being awakened and then there's being conscious, there's a difference, and there's different levels of it as well, and you grow and you ascend further on your journey when you're ready for it at specific times. You know what it's like when you talk to people and there's just, you know, the blinkers are on, cognitive dissonance, they don't want to accept information. You got to do it in stages. You got to, you know, get through to them at what level they're at, really. Our group's full of, you know, all different types of people from different backgrounds, and again from on different timelines as well. Some people are really, you know, quite far ahead. Some people are at the beginning of their journey. They need a little hand and a little cuddle almost to help them through. But the majority, the thing that sticks out the most is a lot of people that join don't want to do their own research. They just want to be spoon-fed. And unfortunately, it doesn't work like that when you step out of the matrix.
No.
You've got to do your homework, and you've got to be aware of potential consequences. There's so many different routes. There's so many different paths depending on your circumstances. I can't decide for you. I can give you some options, but you need to decide which path you're going to take. And there's not one path that's 100% clean and that's it, and everything's going to be all right, and send this letter, that letter, and this letter, and everything's going to be hunky-dory. It might be, but it's not always.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's interesting that it was like coal-fired power stations. So, I mean, there's still quite a few of them like knocking around, coal-fired ones, I mean.
I've worked since then. I worked in engineering, construction. So power stations are quite a few years ago. I believe there is a few. They started with the gas stations as well, gas-fired stations. I worked at if I remember, Eggborough Power Station, Ferrybridge Power Station, Fiddler's Ferry. There was Longannet in Scotland. There was the one in Kent, Kingsnorth. A lot of them have been mothballed. Worked at Maltby Colliery as well, doing a big redundancy project there. But I mean, obviously back then I was not conscious at all. I was not awakened at all. Totally well and truly in the matrix, in the corporate world, tied up. And I guess for me, I had to experience that to come out of the other side. But it's given me a certain skill set, I guess. So, I'm so thankful and blessed that I went through, you know, all those different experiences for 14 years, because it's allowed me to do what I do now. And I love not being in the corporate world. I love it. Yeah, definitely
for handling a big group like that. You know, and so many different personalities, you know, like that, you know, I've obviously run similar things, not like on energy or anything, but similar things, you know, so I think I might go and do some human resource training, trying to get me a hand and doing that. So
it'll certainly be relevant in the last couple of years of what's gone off with employment. I mean, I was chomping at the bit really, because I would have loved to have been in HR in the last couple of years with everything that's gone on employment wise, with people losing their jobs and things. That would have been really interesting. There'll definitely be a lot of tribunal cases coming.
Well, yeah. Oh, you mean like for like sacking them or firing them because they wouldn't go with the protocol?
But if they didn't follow protocol and things. I was in construction when it started off, because I've not left yet. And I was HR manager for a construction company. I'll not say their name, but everyone was wearing masks, literally everyone in the offices all day for 8 hours, apart from me, who was the HR manager, enforcing these rules and ridiculous policies. And I just couldn't do it any longer. It was just, there were so many signs for me to say, what are you doing? It was ridiculous. But I guess that's the past, isn't it now? We've got to live in the present moment, and it was an interesting time.
Yeah, you're right what you're saying though, about not just about like the tribunals and things like that could happen or probably will happen, but
yeah.
I mean, I deal quite a lot with GDPR and debt elimination or helping people with debt, and a lot of it is them, and they haven't gone, oh, give us a card, I'm going to go and spend $5,000 on a laugh. These have been living on credit cards for years because they've lost their jobs, lost their businesses, all because of the nonsense that they put everybody through at that period.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you back? It froze a little bit there.
Oh yeah, it was a bit pixelated then. It's back now.
Yeah, so it's that'll be interesting. I have a friend of mine who he runs a union, Harmony Union, and he's been working for years, like since then, helping teachers. Because what they're doing is they're fighting policy. When the schools are saying you wouldn't follow policy because you didn't do this or didn't get that done, and you weren't even enforcing it with the kids, but he just switches it around. He's very, very clever. He's like Reverend Dr. Warren, and like he just said, well, it's not the legislation then, and he turned it on them all, and then they got them all compensation initially, so they'll probably get even more, or we'll see. But again, because they all just use policy instead of, not that I like legislation anyway, but you can't use policy over legislation.
Yeah. It was there was a lot of coercion, weren't there, and manipulation. It was a difficult time, even for us that were, we were on the front line, weren't we? Like, marching through bloody supermarkets and protests and not having none of it really, and really speaking our truths. It was still hard times for us because we were the ones that were getting most of the stick really, because we weren't acquiescing. And when you look back, it was a difficult time. It was awful, wasn't it? It was a horrible atmosphere and energy around. We're totally in a different place right now. It's a different world. For me, from the way I see things and my timeline, it's just, it's the best time to be alive and here. We're so blessed to be here, part of it, and awakening humanity. We're all part of it. We're all playing our purpose, and all the dots are connecting, which is brilliant. And it's a phenomenal time. It's exciting.
But on that time, still now a little bit, but I mean, what you're seeing was perfect divide and conquer, exactly what they've been using forever. So it was either wearing it or not wearing it, and then you've took it or you not took it, and and divide and conquer, make them fight each other, hate each other, and let them do all the work, and we'll just mop up the pieces afterwards.
Yeah, totally.
Same thing. The normal thing. It's all like the tactics of the Roman Empire. They've been doing it forever.
Yeah, they are.
It's try to keep telling people that, even like Hannibal, when he went over the mountains and he come in with his elephants, they beat him by convincing his own people he was the wrong one, and they killed him. The Romans didn't. It's always the same. So but let's go back to like the group thing where we're talking about that you're running that group there. So when people come onto the group, right? I mean, I'm not great at Telegram. I keep losing everything. It's really difficult. It's like goes up and down and everywhere on there. But if they're coming in, then do they like go and speak to you, or do you have meetings or anything like that?
What I've done is on the Telegram, and it is hard sometimes if you're not used to Telegram. You need to learn how to navigate it first, I guess. But the group's built. It has like a file section, it has a link section, it has a media section. So if you go and view like the files, like you can get a trespass notice off there. You don't need to buy one. There's a straw man PDF document. There's documents about warrants, what they are, and there's all sorts of documents. But the pinned messages, there's about 130 pinned messages. So if you look at the top bar on the right hand side, there's a little pin. And if you keep tabbing that pin, that will take you through all the relevant pin messages, what I pinned to the group, of how to book in for a meter replacement with the engineers, or if you want to join and book a group. I do like probably monthly or every 6 weeks, I run like group sessions for people. If they don't have to book in, by the way, or I do like a couple of one-to-ones a week, but I don't do a lot anymore because I haven't got time. You don't need to join or book on one of those, but it's for people that need a little bit of a confidence boost, that want to discuss different approaches, because it's not written in stone and it's not written in a book. We're learning, and we've got data, what we've collated from the last 3 years of what works, what, depending on your circumstances, we've got options that we like to discuss. So you can do that, but a lot of the information is all there for free. But you know what it's like, Peter, people just want to be spoon-fed. They don't want to look through pinned messages. They don't want to watch a couple of videos. And that's where people fall down, because part of this standing in your physical sovereignty is taking responsibility for your own actions. And you've got to do a bit of due diligence. It's part, and it doesn't matter if you're not academic. You don't need to be academic. A lot of this is common sense. So it's just browsing through the pinned messages, looking through the file section. There's a chat as well, so you can chat with other people in the group. And again, there's over 20,000 people, so all over the UK as well. So there's sometimes people, they meet up through the group. They do all sorts, and I do like community calls. I'm doing a community call this Friday. That's free to join. I don't do them every week because I don't get the time, but we do all sorts. Last week it was about holistic health. The week previous to that, we did a call on EMF protection, because not everybody can have their smart meters removed. So if you can't have them removed, then what's the alternative? We've done stuff about stargazing, star protocol. We've done real alternative subjects as well, which might not be for everyone, but we record them and we put them on the community group. So we've got 2 groups that run.
Right. Okay. So what I'm interested in this bit, because we've got our own ideas as well, but how do you go about protecting from EMF then? So if you have got, luckily we haven't, but if you have got a smart
meters. First, the cheapest option is probably tin foil. I'm not sure how effective. It's not obviously 100% effective, but if people can't afford to buy products as such, and they can't afford to have their meters replaced, because it's expensive to have your meters replaced, because you've got to pay an engineer to do it. I don't change the meters. I think people think that I go around the UK changing bloody meters. I'm not an engineer. I just do the talking and try and advise people, but not necessarily advise, just kind of recommend different ways. Tin foil, wrap it in tin foil. If you are into energy work like meditations, breath work, intention, visualization, then that's highly effective. Deep shielding around the meters. That would be like a daily practice, I would thought. If you have crystals, and because a lot of people are quite into that energy with crystals, all different types. Obsidian, shungite crystals around the meters as well is highly effective. Again, it's not 100%, but again, we've got to do what you can do. And then G Block, who's one of my friends, he's got a proper business called G Block, and he makes, it's a family-run business, and I love family-run businesses, EMF protective blankets, what you could put over your meter. He does several different products as well for phones, laptops and things like that. But we've done a community call with G Block as well about that. So that's if you want to buy specific products, you could do that. What do you suggest, Peter? What's your thoughts on?
Well, I mean, I've also heard about the tin foil, but the wrapping it in the tin foil. But I mean, the main thing that we do is a lot of intention, what you've mentioned there, and also shungite. So it's we get the raw shungite, so it's not polished, it's not cut, because that seems to be more powerful. So a friend of mine who runs a weekly meditation session that we go and do it online. It's online. But he used to live in London.
Yeah.
He actually used to work in Buckingham Palace. He was an Ayurvedic practitioner for the royal family.
Oh wow.
And he would walk around London and he got shungite, and when he kept it on him, he had a meter to actually measure it, and it was going virtually to zero when he kept the shungite on him.
Wow.
And really high when he didn't, because you can imagine being in that area. So I mean, we've definitely got that. I keep that next to the laptop and everything. We use it in the water as well. But I would definitely.
Have you heard of Organite? I've got Organite as well, plates around the house from Morocco.
Yeah.
I wear mine all the time as well.
My little, these are just ornaments. Hoonin and Moonin, the Odin's eyes, they are. But so we got, again, type of stuff.
Oh yeah, God, that's pretty. That's nice.
Yeah, but it's a lot of copper in there as well.
Copper, I've got the copper ones, the little.
I mean, I know people might think that that's really weird and strange and everything, but whoops, not on my camera. But that really works.
Yeah.
And if you had to rely on anything, I would rather rely on a crystal than tin foil.
Yeah.
Totally. So
me too.
I think. And no matter what you do, I've messed this all up now. No matter what you do, I think it's always going to be better for you to have crystals around you anyway. Totally. Can't believe I'm saying that now. I mean, a few years ago, I would have never said that. But you just got to research more and study more and discover more.
Yeah, totally agree with that. It's I didn't even know what crystals were years ago. I didn't even know what they were, but my house is full of them. I love them, and it's great to do meditations with specific, crystals. And Jerry's a big fan as well. And you won't think 6 foot Jerry would, who's a man's man, would wear crystals, but he does.
Exactly. I'm exactly the same. But the thing is, as well, what you just mentioned, about people taking responsibility for their own actions.
Yeah.
Be it to help if you have to have a smart meter and you've got no options, and doing that and researching. This is a big, I would think, a bugbear and a disappointment that I have is people just, it's not just that they won't listen. It's just look, you have to go and find out, because I'm not sitting here for hours upon hours upon hours, teaching everybody, or not teaching, sharing the knowledge. And because people wouldn't listen anyway. Right, after 5 minutes, they're bored, stiff, and away they go, and then blame you because they don't know what to do when something happens to them.
It's very frustrating when you're in that position, and I feel your pain as well, because that's when people don't take responsibility and they only read a little bit and take a little bit from what you're saying. They'll go away, do their own thing, then they'll come back. They're still in victimhood, and they blame you for their experience. And that's something not right with that. You've got to part of stepping into that sovereignty of light, because we're all light beings, is making your own decisions and taking responsibility for the next steps. And a lot of people fear confrontation. So for me, before you start having your meters changed, you need to deal with your own traumas and triggers, really. So if you're fearful of confrontation, of a bailiff coming to the door, then maybe you need to work on removing that fear, or not necessarily can't remove fear, but transmuting fear into another energy, a different energy, an opposite energy of love. Love is one of the highest frequencies, and love conquers all. But people don't quite understand that this process is meant to be like a confidence boost. It's meant to feel empowering. You're not meant to be having anxiety and sleepless nights. There's something there's a void within that needs to be dealt with. So there's a bigger picture. You can't just say, do this, this, and this, then that's all right. You need to understand the bigger picture of what's going on in the world. And to do that, you do need to spend your own time and energy. It will pay off eventually if you do that, and if you work on your fears and your triggers, because once you've conquered that, everything else flows. It's not difficult. It's really not difficult.
Well, that's that self-awareness as well, though. I mean, I tell people all the time, you've got to know thyself, and if you know thyself, but then even, know thine enemy even more, then you will never lose a battle.
Yeah.
But it's got to start with within, and everybody thinks that you've got you've got a piece of paper, right? Look, if I get this piece of paper, then I don't have to worry about anybody. Nobody will talk to me ever again. Oh, that's not really going to happen, So it's like, I get it all the time. Can you give me a piece of paper to deregister my car? That doesn't make any sense to me. You're talking rubbish. And if you think one piece of paper is going to stop some bully trying to get the best of you, then you're in for a hard ride.
Totally agree.
It's
a lot of people, because to reclaim your sovereignty, people always ask me, well, what do you do? Is there a process? And I'm like, well, there is a process where you can correct your birth certificate status, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to get any hassle. And it doesn't mean we were born sovereign. All of us were born sovereign, right? We've had it taken away from us. So you can reclaim your sovereignty at any point that you want. We are at the top of the pyramid. People don't realize how powerful we actually are as light beings of energy. So you don't need a paper trail to say that you're sovereign, but you can do it if you want to explore that. I've done it, but has it changed anything for me? I don't know. It depends really. Like for me, I believe in soul contracts, and we sign these contracts before we come here. And I don't know if this is a little bit off subject as such, but for me, soul contracts are important. You need to undo those, and the birth certificate fraud for me is kind of like a soul contract. You need to undo that energetically as well. So for me, it is important, but it might not be for another, and that's okay. We've all got different perceptions of things. Our reality is an internal view of who we are, and everybody's different, and everyone's on different timelines, and that's okay. I guess we've just got to be at peace that everyone's at different stages. Even the people that have, had this, they're all on a journey as well. And a lot of them, that was part of their journey because it's going to wake them up. But then you've also got the people that are just here to have this human experience, and that's it. They don't want to experience anything more. They want to stay in the 3D side of things. And we've got to be okay with that. We've all got friends and family that are that, and that's something that we all have in common. We've all got loved ones that are totally switched off or on a different timeline. I guess it's just what groups do you run, Peter? What have you got? Telegram groups, or is it like something?
Okay, I've got Telegram groups, but I've got people that run them for me because it's just I honestly haven't got the time. But also, I just go on them and I'm like, look at them, like, oh, I'm lost. So I've got people who do it, and one or two of them are like, look, you got to go on and answer a message because that one's actually for you rather than the group, and I'll do it. So I'm terrible at it. I only go maybe twice a month, something like that.
It's too much, isn't it? And then you're using all your time and energy, and difficult, isn't it? Really, it's managing.
But we've got another platform like Checkmate the Matrix, which is you can go into it and you can actually chat with each other, send messages to each other, private messages, or in a group. It's very similar to like social media thing, but it's all private. Nobody else can see it.
All right.
So it's like only our group. It's only a small group. So, like I'm talking about an inner circle group, if you want to call it that. And we've got the Facebook group. There's about, I don't know, I can't remember, 12 to 15,000 on there. But like anybody can go on and do what they want. But this is private. Right. So we have weekly meetings on there. But again, it's like it's on this software, but again, it's private. So no one else can see it, and it's all held within the actual. It goes into that section. Go and have a look at the recording, you know, if you want it. So, and everyone's actually friendly, helping each other if there's any more advice. But I am in there regular, and I'll put up all my own that's where I'll do my stuff. I'll say what I want to see in there. I'll do my videos in there, and I'll like answer any questions. So I get loads of questions, but it's all held in there, and no one else can see. So you're not gonna get opinions from Facebook and fact checks and you know what I mean?
And bots, and we do get a lot. That's the unfortunate thing with Telegram, is that we do get people that are obviously paid to discredit the group, and I've had lots. I'm sure you have as well. I've had a lot. I've had YouTubers do videos about me and all sorts. Black belt barrister did a video about me, and just I don't really watch them because I ain't got time. But you're always going to get that when you put your face out there. But Telegram is, we do have a lot of spam and bots on there. But it's all right. I don't let it consume our energies. We're not going to stop. We're just growing. So it is what it is, really.
Yeah. I mean, like, as for the videos thing, there's people do that way. It's not people. It's only a couple of them. You just mentioned one of them. I just call him, like, the ballerina bullshitter. Like, and, you know. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, sometimes. Yeah, sometimes I must admit I've got angry, but I can't help it. I'm just a man, and I've even done lives and went mad at them. So get up my gym.
I think that's the thing with it. It's more disheartening that it's like you give majority of your time. Like for me, I've given up my career. Like I earn a fraction of what I used to. Like literally, majority of what I do every day is for free because I want to. I'm not being a victim here. I want to. I choose to do that. It's a totally different life for me. It's a lot more peaceful not being in the corporate world. That's gone. That was the past. I'm in the present now. But it is disheartening when you do get slagged off across for this and that. And, it's like Chinese whispers and it gets taken out of context. It is disheartening. But again, that's maybe us needing to work on our triggers still.
Yeah,
we're not perfect, are we? Either. We're on our own journey as well.
Exactly. I would never claim to be perfect, and it's just one of them things. And it's just, but the thing is as well, if you look at it, I mean, obviously we get a lot more followers when they do it. So they put up some stupid video of me. I get loads more. I always know. So I think, there's a big surge. Like I haven't done anything. So, it's them. And, if somebody has to use your energy to try and grow their channel, then that's their problem. If they haven't got any of their own decent content, and at the end of the day, they're just all a bunch of ugly bastards. So they've got to put someone else's face on.
Yeah, of course.
That's what it is. So, like, to hell with them. They're all absolute pathetic wastes of energy. I bet they're completely and utterly paid for anyway. So who gives a shit?
Yeah. It's interesting. Anyway. I think that the black belt barrister, or the ballerina as you call him, his channel's registered, not registered, sponsored by Octopus Energy.
Oh yeah, somebody said that. Yeah,
that was brilliant.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's probably why he's having a go at you. And that would be to like build up his own channel. So, and I think actually, somebody sent me a video, and then he actually comes up and says, "Click this button, and you'll get a free something or other." Oh my god!
You sign up with Octopus Energy. Brilliant.
Crazy stuff. Crazy. Couldn't believe it. But so going back to like on the right. Okay, how would we start that? If someone says, I want to get into your position, right? So I want to get into a position. So I don't know what you'd class it. Taking charge of my own energy, my own gas or electric. Yeah. All right. Now, let's just say that they've got the meters changed, right? However they did it. Well, let's just say they've done it properly. They've got a good engineer. They didn't go and think that I'm going to get a spanner. Right? So they got it done properly.
Health and safety is a priority. So
I
don't ever condone. I don't ever recommend people just doing it themselves.
No, I would hope no. I hope nobody would even think about it.
A lot of people do it though, but I mean, I wouldn't touch the electrics. I just would not do that at all. But
no, well, either gas or electric, I wouldn't go near any of it. You know, I'm definitely not technical minded that way. Like I'll probably, to hell with it. It's not even worth thinking about. But so see if they've done that, right? So they've got like their own meter in there. Now, do they have to, like, I don't know what you'd call it, send the meter reading anywhere, or what happens with that?
Well, it's if when you do this, when you go down this route, it's almost like you become your own utility company, if you like. So as long as that meter is working, and we only use brand new meters, by the way, we don't buy meters off eBay secondhand, because again, it's health and safety, and the engineers want to make sure that the meters that they use are already certified, part certified from the manufacturer direct, so they get them. And you can give yourself the meter readings if you like, if you feel it's necessary, but you don't need to write them down specifically unless you feel that you need to do that, but you don't need to send them to a third party. A lot of people start sending them to National Grid, and I just, again, waste of time, waste of energy. You're opening up a can of worms if you do that, in my opinion. National Grid will write back to you to say, thanks very much, but you need to sign up with a supplier loosely. We'll use that word loosely because they're not suppliers, but that's what they'll tell you. So many people have done that and then they don't need to do it any longer. Nothing really changes, Peter, because when you have your meters changed, you're gaining energy direct, but you were doing that anyway. You were just paying a middleman for the so-called service that they don't provide, because they don't own the meters either. So you don't have to have your meters changed. If they are smart meters, because remember, this is how we started out, if you have a smart meter, you probably do need to get that replaced, because for number one, it's the health impact. Your health and well-being is a priority, and it should be. And the second one is them remotely connecting to the meter. So if you didn't pay a bill, they could switch you to a prepayment mode or switch the meter off. So that's why you would need to have it done if it's a smart meter. But if it's a standard meter, you don't have to. You can still go through this process and see how far you get. It's whether you feel more comfortable having something replaced that you own, with something that you own. And at the minute, what people are doing is they don't know who owns the meter in the property. So again, this is where you need to make decisions. Would I feel comfortable if I had loads of hassle further down the line from third parties wanting to access the meter? If it's something that I own, then surely they don't have the right to it, because I own it. I've had it installed. It's my meter. It's my property. If they steal that meter, that's a crime. That turns it from a civil matter into a crime, because they've stolen something. They've come on your property and stolen it. So again, there's like so many different angles. It can't just be written in stone almost, because everybody's got different circumstances. But I guess the other side to it is it's all right having the meter bit is the easiest bit, because that's what the engineer does. You don't have to do anything. It's dealing with the broker, isn't it? Really, that's the issue. What people have, and that's where you can do a formal process if you want to. If you're a fan of, a lot of people that are dealing with council tax prefer a formal written process, but you don't have to. You've got options. You don't have to with gas and electric. You can do this like examples of letter templates and information on the file section of the group if you prefer that method, but be mindful, because if you are inserting your energy into that process, that will continue to flow. And at what point do you get off the hamster wheel? That's all I would say to people, is be mindful, because I used to be a huge fan, obviously working in human resources, of, we've got to have a letter template, we've got to do a formal process, we've got to have our evidence. And there's a huge side to that, but you've got to lead that process, and it's got to be your skill set, Peter, because I'm not going to write the letters for you. I ain't got time. So you've got to take these templates, you've got to change them to suit your circumstances. When they write back, you've got to write another letter back. So and they might not answer your questions because they're not going to be cooperative. They're not going to hold their hands up to say, oh, yes, it's all fraud. We don't own the meters. We don't supply gas and electric. So that I don't know if that resonates, but that's kind of like one process people could take, or they could close their account down. They could do, if you don't feel comfortable, doing like the move out form, like we've moved out of the property, close the account down, pay off the final bill because the physical body is not moved out. Well, why don't you just be a little bit clever and creative with things and write an email to customer services to say, with the effective date, please close the account down. Here's the final meter readings. The uppercase name, talking in the third person, because you're not your uppercase name. Kayles so-and-so is no longer in the property with this effective date. Because then you're not saying you've moved out, but it's like you're stepping into your sovereignty. So if you want to be a bit clever about things, and again, wording's important, you could have a play around with things, or you could just cancel your direct debit, Peter, and just get on with your life and ignore everything. That's an option as well. There's so many different options. I'll let you talk.
So a friend of mine, who I actually done a show with as well, Andrew Stevenson. He thinks he's related to George Stephenson, the rocket inventor back in the steam engine. He reckons he's a distant relative, all in the same area, so he very possibly could be. But anyway, he discovered legislation that says that you're allowed to have what they call a micro supplier, right? Yeah. So let's just say cross over here, they've got like a whole row of solar panels on their house. Oh yeah. It actually says that I could pay them for their electricity because they're actually putting it into the grid because they don't use it all. Yeah. I mean, I know I've got a couple of friends that live near Andrew as well, all in the Cleveland area, north of England, and they actually get paid a lot of money for having this solar on top of the roof. Yeah. So, and they reckon that it's written in there that they could actually be giving it to somebody else, and it doesn't have to be a contract, there doesn't have to be a record, but they actually turned up, with basically a private army. Yeah. And he to this day has got no power. That's nearly a year and a half later.
Wow. What they've disconnected him?
They dug the road up.
Right. But that was a business. Was that classed as commercial?
No, it's not business. Yeah, that's his house. Yeah.
I'd have to do a little bit more about that because there is a lot of scaremongering like across the internet, as you know, the fear porn spreads across the internet and everyone jumps on it. I don't know anyone that's had the road dug up, right? I've had people that are probably not telling the truth about some, like, when you just get a little bit of a snippet of information, but you don't get the whole picture. So they will go to measures to dig the road up, but they have to get permits from the council. They have to get permission. That's a lot of money. That's thousands of pounds to get that. Yeah. To get all the health and safety materials in place before they went as far as doing that. They're not going to do that to residential properties unless there's a health and safety risk, a potential gas leak. Then they will go as far as that. They do not go and dig the roads up for you having your meters replaced. There must be something else is the reason why.
It was his land.
Health and safety, usually. Which is why we always tell people you've got to get your safety certifications, you've got to get your gas CP12 done every year, your EICR for your electric. If you're renting out, that's a 5 year, it lasts for 5 years. But if you're a homeowner, it lasts for 10 years if there's no faults, obviously. These safety certs are not, because again, people get everything mixed up. These are not for the meters, right? There's no such certificate that exists that you can have done for your meter when it's replaced. A CP12 checks for gas leaks. So there is part of that is checking the meter, but a big part of it is checking the boiler. And an EICR is a full health and safety electrical inspection of the full property. So it checks like your electric plugs, your light plugs, your appliances, etc. There's a visual check with the electric side, a tick box visual check of the meter. But it's not actually on the inspection as such. But those are the certificates that we would recommend, because there's nothing else that you could get to say that there's no health and safety issues within the property. So if somebody turned up with a warrant of entry under the 1954 Gas and Electricity Act, right, within that warrant, I mean, it's invalid for several reasons, which we've got loads of information on the group in the file section about. But one of those, one of the contents, the details within the warrant template stipulates that it's giving the distributor operator rights to inspect for health and safety reasons, because they believe the meters have been tampered with. Their wording, not ours, right? So if you've got a third-party engineer certificates, which is factual proof that, well, there's no health and safety issues within this property because I've got these. This is proof it's done by a third party that's not changed the meters, totally unbiased. And the warrant's invalid. I don't have a contract with you. You're not coming in to inspect my property because it's my meters and my house. I don't consent. This is about, and again, it's not that they're going to be like, oh, okay, we'll go away. There might be a bit of a standoff, and you might, I mean, we've had people that are successful, that have stood their ground in those scenarios. And we've also had members where it's got to the point where they've brought a locksmith and they've tampered with the locks. I class it as breaking an entry, but they don't. That's why they bring locksmiths. They're not allowed to cause damage. Sometimes they do. And they've took the meters out and they've put force fit prepayment meters. So that is a possibility, Peter, if you go down this route. And again, this is why it's so important to do all your research, because you've got to be 10 steps ahead of the game always. And you've got to know a little bit about everything, I would say, so you can stand your ground comfortably in a situation like that. It's not like you're getting handcuffed. I always say this. You're not getting handcuffed and taken to prison because you've not committed a crime. It's not energy theft because there's a metering that's taking readings, which you can clearly evident, you can show them. There's it. Yeah. But again, this is the trickery. This is a fraud. I've known people that have been arrested for so-called energy theft, but nothing's materialized after that point. If it would happen to me, Peter, I would let them arrest me, right? And I would just go through play the game and go through the process, because there's no evidence that it's energy theft, because it isn't 100%. If you did not, and again, we have been to people's properties that have got, they are involved in criminal activities. Our engineers will not get involved because we don't need to bypass meters. There's no point. This is not what this is about. We're not going to give them any avenue to take action, to turn it from a civil matter into a crime. We're just not going to do that, because you don't need to do that. So you're not bypassing a meter. If you bypass a meter, that's energy theft. But this is not energy theft, what we're doing. But sometimes they might make an example out of a few, which they've tried to. Breach of the peace. I mean, I'm sure I'm not going to, all that anyway with the police. What they don't need to be there. They're just there to prevent a breach of peace for both parties. They're not meant to be there to assist, aid and abet these criminals. They're not. But in some circumstances, they have done, where they need to be held accountable if you feel it's worth your time and energy, or go back to having your meters replaced again. Again, it's a game, it's an illusion. It's how far do you want to push it? Again, it's about manifestations as well, Peter. Like what frequency are you vibrating at? Right? Are you doing the inner work, right? Or are you concentrating all the doom and gloom out there? Because if you're doing the inner work, you're raising your vibrations, you're raising your frequency, you're going to attract everything back at that level. But if you're having sleepless nights and you're concentrating all the doom and gloom, you're gonna attract everything back at that level, and experiences are going to come forward for you. I do greatly believe in that. People might think I'm absolutely mad, and that's okay. People are entitled to their opinion, but I do believe this is all about your own frequency and energy, what you're giving off, and how you insert your energy into what's going to serve you. Do you think giving your energy away to these lower astral entities, as I call it, do you really think that's going to serve you going forwards? I don't believe it is. I think you need to be reinvesting your energy back into your health and well-being, furthering yourself, your growth, because the more that you do that, the more that your light shines bright. Nothing can penetrate when you stood within your sovereignty of light. And that's where I am. That's where I am at my journey right now, concentrating, taking a step back from all the noise and concentrating on myself and my own growth. And in a non-egotistic way, I hope that comes across. But that's what I'm doing. I always share as well on our community calls, what am I doing? Because people are interested, aren't they, to know, well, what are you doing? What works for you? What doesn't? And to get to this point, it's not been, it's a roller coaster ride, isn't it? We all have to go through the dips and highs and lows and things. That's just part of who we are. We've come here to have this experience, so we bloody well better enjoy it and have fun as well. Bring the laughter back, have a bit of fun, lighten up a little bit.
Yeah, but like these warrants that you're talking about anyway, obviously you're saying there's a lot of reasons why, the warrants themselves are invalid, but the main reason is that they're all fake anyway, because they don't get issued properly and there is no due process for the whole thing. So there's always must be due process in law, no matter if it's like a warrant to go and do that or get arrested for a physical crime. There has to be due process. Now they're actually saying, right, they're alleging, making a claim that they've been to court, and they haven't. Yeah,
no, they haven't, and we never get an invitation, funnily enough.
Exactly.
Never.
So I've actually got notices or letters, if you want, from the Ministry of Justice confirming point blank that there's no warrant. So, well, no, because I've put this is the name, this is the address, this is the alleged warrant number. Can you clarify that under SER and come back to no, it doesn't exist?
Wow.
Because they've just done it in the office. It's in Birmingham. Eon use it all the time. Eon and EDF, they use the same office in Birmingham. And it's just they go stamp. In fact, they don't even stamp them, right? They just actually issue it on air, and then so none of them are actually real.
Yeah, true. If you read them as well, they're all the same. They use the same template, and there's no wetting signatures from any judges, because a judge would not sign something like that. They would not sign that type of warrant. It's not a high court warrant. It's not even addressed to a legal fiction either. It's addressed to the bloody occupier. They are never addressed to the legal fiction. Do people really think that a supposed high court warrant from the courts would be addressed to the occupier? I mean, come on. It's just, they look so shit, these pieces of paper. That's all they are. They allow it says the distributor/operator. It gives authority to the distributor/operator to inspect the meters, whether they're inside or outside. The distributor/operator is not bloody Eon or Scottish Power. It's not a bailiff either. That should be National Grid, surely. Because that's where we're supposedly getting our energy from, National Grid. But National Grid, funny enough, have never been to anyone's property trying to issue a warrant. So they're there under false pretenses with fake fraudulent documentation. It's just absolutely mad. And it's not meant for debt purposes as well. It's meant for health and safety reasons. So that's why it's more important to get your safety certificates done. Increasing security piece, that's something that's paramount. And again, depending on your circumstances, if you're renting, you might not be able to increase the security, or you might not have the finances to do that. I mean, for me, the first thing that I did was the money that I was saving on not paying any bills or council tax or water or whatever, loans, finance, whatever it was. I reinvested that into protecting where I lived, because I think that's important. CCTV surveillance, video ring doorbells, guard dogs, fences, 6-foot gates, trespass notices, the signage. For me, I have it all because I feel it's necessary, and I'm protecting where I live. And I don't get hassle, Peter. Again, it's that wording, isn't it? What do you class as hassle? I've had bailiffs come. They weren't bailiffs, they were debt collectors impersonating bailiffs, because they normally are. I've had them and they were gone within 2 minutes off the property. But I don't class that as hassle, Peter. For me, it's a pantomime. It's having fun with it. You can have so much fun. You don't have to use violence, threatening behaviour or fear. That's a low frequency. We need to have fun. We need to educate people. They're just doing their job a lot of the times innocently. These visits, of course, you're always going to get a cocky one who's worked there for 30 years, who's trying to make an example of you. Yeah, I understand that. But sometimes if the police do come, they act as a good mediator, depending on who they are. And we've had examples of that. They're not meant to get involved. No, they're not. But sometimes they do. And again, I ain't got a crystal ball. I can't tell you what's going to happen. But it's the minority that are having the hassle, not the majority. The majority of us not had hassle, not paid bills for 5 years. Enjoy my life. That was in the past. I'm in the present now. I don't worry about it. And again, it's about where you're inserting your energy and time.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of what you're saying there as well about the actual vibration that you're putting out, it definitely attracts it back.
Yeah.
You know, I've said it for years and years, all the way through, like running like martial arts gyms. I said if you're acting in a certain way, you're going to attract everything that you put out. So make sure you're acting in a way to attract the students you want, or you're going to end up with bad students.
Yeah,
you know,
totally
so it's a fact. You know, so yeah, that's really, really good information. But what you said as well, though, which is good for people, is if they go on and join the group, then they've got all of those files in there. They've got like all of the video section. You've got template section.
But pinned messages, loads of information on there. And if something doesn't interest you, just click it again and it goes to the next one. So it might sound a lot. Oh God, I've got to read through 130 pinned messages. But you can relatively click through them, because some of them are like just pinned interviews and things on there for people to watch, and straw man documentaries, Nature of the Cage, like all these things that for me are basics that if you've not watched the Nature of the Cage straw man, but you're going to have your meters changed, I just think that's mad. You need to, like, things like that are basics, aren't they? Understanding what is the birth certificate? What does it mean? I think that's a good starting point, not having your meters replaced. You need to, step back a little bit and do a little bit of groundwork. And it's not difficult. Watching a few videos, reading a bit of literature. It's not that hard, is it? It's not like we're asking you to go to university and get a qualification.
They are all really good videos as well, and that's when you can get to grip, of what the legal system is. And this is what I try to put across to a lot of people. Say, look, don't worry about the legal system. That is quite a modern concept. The law is not legal, so don't allow the two to mix. It's like oil and water. Like the law has always been there, always will be there. We know we're not allowed to go and kill people or steal their stuff or do anything like. We know that. That's just normal, right? You don't need to be like have like somebody in a funny clown outfit to tell you you're not allowed to do that, right? But the legal society or the legal system, if you look, is just people that are making up their own rules as it suits them, so they can make money out of you.
Yeah. Totally.
I mean, on everything, on every aspect of it, like not just on the actual utility bills, but driving, for instance, it's you can't do anything without having to pay for it.
Out there. But it's designed that way. I mean, I see things from a different perspective. Take the emotion out of it and look at things from an observer position. Things are bad out there because it's designed to wake you up. For me, it's like these triggers, everything like the gas and electrics hikes like 3 to 4 times. They've hiked the prices, and council tax is this, and you're getting fined for breathing as you walk out of your bloody door these days, and parking fines. But it's got that bad because I believe that it's designed that way to wake you up. Because when it starts hitting your purse, that's when people start listening. when their financial situation starts to change, they start to ask the questions. Then they start to think, actually, I'm going to look at alternatives, and you should. And I think that's designed this way to not necessarily to keep us trapped in the matrix, but to help wake us up. Trigger.
No, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, that is a good way of looking at it. I've never actually thought about. I mean, I've thought about it in ways like similar to that, but not 100% like that. But you know, and it is getting like crazier in a lot of different ways. You know, to make people go, hang on, this is a bit much. But you're exactly right what you say as well. A lot of people take zero notice of anything until it hits them in the wallet.
Yeah. Then they start to ask questions, or they start to look at alternatives, and we're all here, aren't we? Like us, that we've been all working together, really, like separately, but we are for the same cause, and we're all here with open arms. And that's one thing I will always say: we're here to help the sleepyheads when they start to awaken, because they're the ones that are going to need some love and some help, because it's going to be they're going to have to go through the dark times, aren't they? That's part of your awakening. To go down, you know, these dark night of the soul kind of scenarios. And we'll be here. We're setting up the platforms. Well, this is what our roles are the last, you know, how many years. We've been setting everything up from every angle, from a 360 angle for the sleepyheads, for when they wake up. It's like, it's all, because we didn't have that, did we? It's like we all... we you know, when we started to awaken, it was like, what the hell? We just felt like the minority, but it doesn't feel like that anymore. There's a lot, there's so much going on. It's amazing, and there's so many different angles. Whether you're looking at it from this point of view, it's your physical sovereignty and standing for your rights, or you're looking at it from an alternative health perspective. Like that's a big hobby of mine, holistic health. Like because again, it's all falls in, it connects the dots with your energy field and how you're looking after yourself. And there's so many angles, and it's all connected. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. It's the best time to be alive. It's so exciting. It's I have a lot of excitement with it. And
there's a lot
watching the movie, as we call it.
There's a lot going on, that's for sure. But I definitely think, definitely on the holistic health side of things, you know, like that's what everybody should. I mean, you know, should just be trying to remove yourself completely out of the NHS or whatever you always want to call it. You
Best
know,
thing
so
I ever did.
We're actually running an event
in
February next year up in Newcastle, and a part of that will be like holistic health. Actually get in and see, you know, we're having people there that have actually running centers as private clubs. And it's a private members club, and you can go along to receive the benefits of being a member. Right. So there's nobody paying for anything. There's nobody charging for anything. You can go in and donate there, so you can have your benefits of being a member of a private club. So you don't receive any treatment either. But it's all holistic. It's all, you know, oxygen therapy and, you know, like hydrogenated water and all of that type of stuff there that is going to allow people to not get ill, you know. So that's the whole point of it. You know, and a lot of what we do, people always say, well, how do you know it's working? So, well, I'm not ill, so it must be working, you know. Whereas I don't want to get ill and try and cure it. I want to prevent you doing it in the first place.
Yeah, prevention's better than the cure. And again, it all comes back to your own energy fields and having blockages within your energy field. A lot of things happen in like the spiritual sense in your auric field where there's a blockage. And when it comes down into the physical body, you then feel it and you associate it with backache or a sore throat. And so if you do that inner work, you can actually stop things coming into the physical body. It's like a whole new world out there for people to learn, and you can learn the basics yourself for your kids and your family, and it's one of the best things that I've ever learned. And like I said the other week on my community call, every day for me in a holistic sense is a lesson learned, because I add something else there, learn each day to that. And it's, I mean, You don't need to rely on anyone. We always look externally, don't we, to heal. We don't need to. We need to get rid of that belief system. Yeah, it's this holistic centers, they're opening up everywhere. It's amazing.
Yeah, oh, definitely. You know, and that's what I'm saying. We've got some people that are coming to that event to do presentations, and it's all about like the holistic centers that they've got. Like in Ireland, as well as luckily for me, there's one like in Newcastle, well, Gateshead, but on the River Tyne. So, brilliant. You know, but yeah, that's one of the biggest things. I think the most important things, and then to start on the meditation side as well, to actually get people to start, and that's how you're healing yourself and bringing in the energy, and you know,
it don't cost anything.
Well, energy healing, it's your own energy healing yourself, isn't it? Yeah, that's why they don't like it, because they can't make any money off it.
Exactly. Yeah, we're not good customers, are we? Big Pharma, but
no, not at all. We're not popular.
That's a whole new show. We could do a show on that, just holistic talking about. It's amazing.
Oh no, definitely, yeah. So if people want to, I'm going to make sure that I put the link in. But can you know the link yourself? Can you say it now?
I don't know the link, bro. You can even use the link, or you can just type in Telegram when you search for a group, free, and it's uppercase, all uppercase, Free Energy Nationwide. And we've got over 20,000 members, and we've got the lovely Nikola Tesla logo up there.
Oh, cool. So, but it's Free Energy Nationwide anyway.
Yeah.
You know, when you put that in on Telegram, and you'll find your channel.
You can just search it, search for it, or I can send, or put the link in.
Brilliant. Okay, well, you hear that then, people? So, you know, go along there. I'll put the link in the description as well anyway. So go on to there and join, get all the information. I mean, that to me, if you look at the actual files, you know, that there's probably even more files that in that group than I've got in my own group. Okay, so go and have a look, read through that, get the information. The education is there for you. And obviously from, you know, the chat that you've heard there, this is not just about, right, okay, I want to go and stop paying for this, stop paying for that. It's a literally an awakening, if you want to call it that. But definitely I like to becoming aware and using that spiritual energy and finding out more about knowing yourself and then putting it all together correctly. Okay, so the link's in there. Make sure that you get along and check out the group. All right. Thank you very much for coming along.
Brilliant, Peter. Okay. Thanks very much for your time and your energy. It's fully appreciated. It's lovely to chat.
No problem. Been brilliant to have you on here. Thank you so much.